Right, good evening. How are we doing? Are we live? Let's have a look. Let's have a look if we are live. I believe we are. So let's get this show on road, as they say in Yorkshire. So I'm just going to get the questions up for today. So I'm going to get a few tabs up. If you are coming in, give me a hello. If you're on replay, drop a replay below as well. Good evening, Lindsay. How are we doing? Hope we're recovering well. Some great questions as ever. I'm going to have two tabs open. One for the questions, one for the live as well. It just makes things a little bit easier. But if you're coming in and you have a question now, do just ask it. And we are ready to rock. So let's get in with the first question. So first question of many tonight. So first question, is losing a pound a week enough? I'm struggling to even achieve that. And then Kay asks us a great question, as I've lost half a pound in 2 weeks. And as a follow-up, I'll go into that in a second. So this is a great question. Is losing £1 a week enough? I'm struggling to even achieve that. So in short, you've got to consider, let's not, like £1 a week is generally seen as quite an achievable thing, because if you look at it from a point of view, it's about a 500 calorie deficit a day, which is 3,500 calories across the week. That equals a pound of fat. So in 1 pound of fat, if you were to get a pound of fat, there is 3,500 calories in it. So that's the energy it holds, okay? So a pound of fat has energy inside it, and it's 3,500 calories. Now, that's generally quite a good rule of the thumb, if you like. It's quite a good target. However, like everything, it's relative, isn't it? So if you say, right, you're going to lose a pound a week to someone who needs to lose, who wants to lose, say, 3 stone, 4 stone, that might be different to someone who's like, yeah, I just want to lose my last half a stone. If they're on to losing like their last half a stone or even stone, then a pound a week might be quite fast and actually maybe too quick. And if it's too fast, then we've got to consider, like, what's the detriment of that? What do we define as too fast? Is it that it impacts your workouts? It impacts your performance? You can no longer see the performance progress in your strength, in your muscle, which is going to help the bone density. Your energy levels are poor. You end up binging because maybe you're trying so hard to hit that pound a week, but then you're binging because you're like, oh, I'm just so hungry, I can't stick to it. So it's relative, okay, is what I would say. So it's a good target to have, but ultimately, sometimes we've got to consider here that, is it actually realistic for us? Is it actually specific for you? So as a follow-up, Kay asks, how do I stay positive, keep going and not get disheartened? Well, you do that by setting percentage. So take your weight right now. And if you're like, I need to lose a bit, or you're like, I'm worried about my health, take 5% off that. So if you're 100 kilograms, for example, and you want to go, right, I want to take 5% off it, that'll be 5 kilos. Aim to lose that 5 kilos first, not in a week, obviously, but over a set period of time. And then go with that. Now, if you've got a bit of weight to lose, but you're not like overly in a rush, consider, right, you've lost half a pound over 2 weeks. If that's your average over the 2 weeks and you're finding it quite easy, you're feeling good in your sessions, you're feeling like you're getting stronger, what's the rush, right? Like half a pound in 2 weeks might not sound a lot, but that's £1 a month. That's 12 pounds in a year. That's nearly a stone gone in a year. And if you're not finding it that hard and you're finding it pretty good, you're getting stronger, you're getting fitter, you're improving your bone density, increasing your muscle mass, increasing your strength along the way, you're going to go like this. Your body shape, muscle's going to go up, fat's going to go down, which is essentially toning up, which is going to have amazing health benefits. Everyday tasks are going to be easier. You look at the research in terms of independence as we age, disease, you name it. So that is how you stay positive and keep going. You look at the facts right there, and that you're actually doing a lot better than I think you give yourself credit for. Good evening, Claire. How are we doing? If you have any questions, do let me know in the comments. So I hope that helps, Kay, on there. Is that helpful? Let me know. I know you're not in live tonight, so you're on replay. So let me know you're on replay. So Judy, how can I stop thinking about the next meal? I'm a huge overthinker. Realize that you don't have to stop thinking about the next meal. What's the issue with question one? What's the issue with thinking about the next meal? Because you're going to think about food anyway. right? You might not think it now, but later on, if you don't plan that meal, you're probably going to overthink it anyway by beating yourself up at the overthinking. So if you don't want to think about the next meal so much, plan it. Plan it at the weekend. Done. Easy. Make it simple. Make it autopilot. Like, I don't like thinking about food all the time, so I make my breakfast and lunch literally on autopilot. My breakfast and lunch are on autopilot. I sometimes don't even have breakfast just because I'm just not that hungry and I'm busy in the day and I'm okay with that. But my lunch is quite simply something really simple, something protein based, whether that's an omelette, and I make it really plain as well. It might be literally just quick chicken salad. It might just be literally some mackerel in olive oil. It might mackerel in certain sauce. That's just me. I make stuff really simple because breakfast and lunch, I'm in control of. I don't eat with anyone else. It's just me. So I make it bland and boring because, well, I am bland and boring. I just don't want to make any more decisions than I need to. In the evening, yeah, I'll think about it a little bit more. Like tonight, we had pasta, bolognese, sauce, whatever, just something simple that I knew the kids would eat. But the thing is, because I keep my breakfast and lunch very standardized, so I had this morning I had chicken omelette, and I didn't actually have any lunch. I had a bit of yogurt as a snack mid-afternoon, skyr yogurt. That was it. So chicken omelette, skyr yogurt, then I had lots of pasta, bolognese sauce, veggies in the evening. And what I mean by this is I only really have to think about one meal, but I don't really have to think about it because actually I'm just going with what the kids like to make my life easy. And one thing I would say with that is I'm not saying that like that there is kind of no, what's the alternative to thinking about it, I guess, and putting things on autopilot, less having to think about it, is that essentially, is what I would say with that. Good evening, Suzanne. How are we doing? If you have any questions, let me know in the comments as well. So yeah, don't worry about the next meal. Like, what are we thinking about here? That's what I'd ask Judy. What's the thinking about? I think nutrition can be a lot more simple than you think. If you're really struggling, do the food combination plan. I actually shared something tonight about stir fries because when I'm like stuck for ideas, I just go with a stir fry. Stir fry mix, the bag in a wok, shove it all together. Peanut butter, soy sauce, any protein, done. But you know, if you're thinking about cooking for the family, just go with what the family like sometimes and add some veggies to it. That's what I do. Go with what the family like, add some veggies to it. Then you can cut the carb portion, cut that whatever it is. So pasta, like so tonight, pasta. I'll give you an example. Kids are eating. I said to Jen, my wife before, I was like, we're doing pasta. We had gluten-free spaghetti tonight. So it wasn't red lentil pasta. And I was like, right, this will be enough. Put it in the pan. And Jen was like, are you having some as well? And I was like, no, I'll just have leftovers. Okay, that's enough then. And I knew there would be leftovers. So I went, right, I'm gonna have loads of vegetables. So I got loads of med veg from the freezer, plonked it in the oven, cooked it, fried it off in a wok, lots of med veg, did some peas, carrots, stuff like that as well. Just on the side, just easy, just bulk it out. And then I knew there'd be leftovers. If there wasn't, I'd actually be fine anyway. I'd just have more fruit and yogurt for pudding. But there was leftovers and I had my pasta then. Done. And it just meant, one, we saved food, didn't throw it away, and three, it just fit my lifestyle a bit more. But I allowed myself more flexibility for tonight by not really going overboard at breakfast and lunch, staying busy in that day. So, hope that helps, Judy. Give you some ideas. Let me know. What do other ladies do to stop people in their household eating all the food? That's funny, as I can hear some rustling in the fridge as we speak right now. Like, they're definitely eating something like empty peanut butter, no fresh fruit, no eggs. If they start on my zero fat yogurt, there'll be a problem. I love that. Yeah, Lindsay said, I have this too. Yeah, I think mine are 4, 5 and 6, and they're in the fridge now getting there. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like student days. Yeah, You literally have to hide it. Oh, who's been eating my... It wasn't me, I swear. No, you definitely have. Right, that's it. We're putting stickers on them so we know who's... Oh, yeah, locks. So, that's a tough one. What I would say is, can you leave... This is going to sound ridiculous, but can you leave some stuff in your car? Like fresh fruit, like just a backup. Eggs, backup. Get a real plain zero-fat yogurt. They probably won't have it, hopefully. Also get a really big pot. I find that puts people off rather than the little ones. The little ones are just, I don't have one of them. Get a big pot and people are less likely to they have to put it in a bowl, etc. But yeah, some of them stuff you could definitely keep in your car as a bit of a backup. Obviously, you don't want to, completely move out. But yeah, that is a tough one. Or just kind of buy less of the other stuff. More of the healthier stuff. It's a good thing, right? You got to look at the alternative. If they're eating just the rubbish, you can kind of say you've inspired them right there to eat good food as well. So give yourself credit for that. That's pretty cool. I get a bit annoyed when they're eating all the fruit, but at the same time, like, you know what? You leave it on the side, and I just love that they'll just pick at fruit. Whatever's there, they'll pick at. If it was sweets on the side, they'll pick at that. If it's fruit on the side, they'll pick on that. What's there, you're more likely to eat. And that's a great example of environment. So yeah, if it's there, especially eye height, you'll know this from your Kickstart book. If you go to week 1 task and the Trick Yourself Slim shift it checklist, that things at eye height you're more likely to eat. So yes, I hope that helps. But yeah, keep something back up, but also be happy that they're having good foods. If they have plenty of other foods, maybe lower the other foods. And say, you know what? You've been eating all of that food, so didn't bother buying it anymore. So I just bought more of this food. We got more peanut butter, more fresh fruit, more eggs. Guess what? Everyone's going to be eating more protein. Everyone, your whole family are going to be stronger. Your whole family are going to be, their skin, hair, nails are going to be growing. You're going to be looking great, shining, shimmering. Yeah, look at that. What a transformation. Keep it going. That's a positive. Right. How are we doing, Sarah? Good evening. If you have any questions, do let me know. So, next question. Is there a food intolerance test I can do? Now, in short, there are loads you can do. There's loads out there. Are they any good? Unfortunately, no. They're very inaccurate. They're based on really poor data. And are they worth taking? No. If you really have an issue, I'd do something more of an allergy test. Intolerances can be mistaken very easily, and you have to be wary of a lot of things will come up potentially as an intolerance when actually it's fermentation. Actually, there's a lot of psychology involved in this. They've done studies where they tell people that people who think they have a gluten intolerance, they tell people these things have gluten in it, these things don't, and then they actually told them the opposite to what it actually was. So people said, I felt fine on the gluten-free stuff, but I definitely had symptoms on, I felt fine on the gluten-containing things, but I had symptoms when they had the gluten-free things, even though they're actually the other way around, which is interesting. So they actually said that they had a gluten intolerance, but they said they were fine with the gluten things. And that's fascinating from a mindset point of view. And that's one of the problems with intolerance testing as well, is that if you're told something, you're more likely to live up to that, which sounds odd, but it's just the nocebo and the placebo effect at its best. So in terms of that, what I would suggest, however, to give you a bit more of a solution is to do more of a food exclusion role. So if you're looking at something in particular, I'll be honest, 8 times out of 10, I would probably say if you're getting gut symptoms like IBS and stomach cramps, then it's going to be the fermentation of foods, and you need to lower your fermentation. I'll put a link to the fermentation in there. And then if it needs to be more specific than that, then we strip right the diet back. And you look at low fermentation foods to start with, like protein and fats. They're generally easier to digest. They have 0 fermentation compared to carbohydrates and other vegetables. And then you would slowly add in to really test the food. That is how you'll truly know. Otherwise, you can end up with a lot of false positives. And when you have false positives, what happens is we exclude foods for no apparent reason. And if you're stressed and tired at the time and you do a test and that tells you not to have it, and you have it and you live yourself up, oh my God, the stress of actually eating something that you are now, you've convinced yourself as well that you're intolerant to it, that can be more harm than actually what it's worth. So yeah, if you're going for more of an allergy test, just go see your GP. They'll do something called a RAST or a RAST test, and that can flag quite a lot in there as well. Cool. Lindsay asks, how can I build a core that is non-existent? I have tried Pilates on playback and a lot of it's too advanced. I can't feel most core exercises in my core. I tend to feel them in the back, legs, glutes, etc. instead. Lindsay, what I'll do, I'll put a link to the technique session on core that I did as well to really focus on back to basics with that. I'd also try the back to basics sessions as well. So Julie does back to basics on core as well. It's just really like basic going back to technique. I'd also try different Pilates sessions as well. You might find that some are easier than others. You know, some at the end of the day, Pilates does also work your back, legs and glutes. So you're not kind of wrong there in saying I feel them in there. But it might just be that we strip it back a bit. I'll put a few links to some lower intensity in terms of like back to basics. Literally, that's what it's called, back to basics core, and also the technique core sessions as well. And see how you go with them. See if they give you any pointers in the right direction. And obviously ask us in sessions as well. That's kind of one of the best things. Have a look at my setup. Boom, let's go. Next question. What have you used on rest days? And if you recommend them, should you still aim to hit a step target? Yeah, so, I mean, rest days are entirely up to you. Like, for me, I like to do little and often because it keeps my momentum going. You don't have to have rest days unless you are literally training like a full-on athlete and really periodizing and pushing yourself to extremes on some days. But like you said, I'm a fan of active rest days in terms of step count. So let's say you do 3 exercise sessions where you involve a bit of resistance work, and then you do all your other days, you at least aim for a step target of, say, at least 8,000 if you've got a desk job. If you haven't got a desk job, then I'd say more like 12.5. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a personal preference, and it's kind of what the key thing is. What can you recover from is what I would say with the rest days. What can you recover from? Yep, Sarah, that would help me too. Cool. So I'll put the link to the core exercise above this. So after this video, you'll see a replay goes above, and there'll be a link to both in the cloud. They're in the description, okay? So you go into the description. Steffi, do you need protein powder in your diet? No, you don't need it in your diet. The only reason we suggest it is because it helps you hit a target in terms of the protein. So per calorie, it's a great way to get protein in. So without like really increasing calorie intake, you can increase your protein intake, which is obviously important for keeping you full for longer, helping with glucose, blood sugar levels, helping with your muscle recovery, not to name it, skin, hair, nails, you name it. And the good thing about that is it's quite cheap, it's convenient, it's easy. So it allows you to do that without, having to cook a chicken breast or something like that, or have another pot of yogurt or another egg. And this brings you on to the next question. Is there an optimum amount of protein you should have every day? So it generally is worked out per kilogram of body weight. I would say if you're having less than 90, like as a bog standard, like if you're having less than like 90 odd grams a day, I would definitely bump that up regardless of your weight, really. But I would say minimum, if you can, 1.2 grams per kilogram of your body weight is something to aim for. Obviously, if you're miles away from that now, don't go, oh my God, I need to just literally totally increase my protein intake. Just aim to have a little bit more and slowly build it up. That's what I'd suggest. Protein intake is just such a key thing, and it's bonkers that I've been sent some articles recently about people saying that, oh, is this true? It's like protein intake's a myth. I was like, this is one like blog, and yet there's evidence, and like to the extent where my brother-in-law actually researches this stuff. He works in a lab in Nottingham at university, postdoc lecturer. They look at aging, muscle loss, you name it, muscle gaining. And to the extent, I always ask him, any good research at the moment? And he says like, not really. We're kind of looking at other stuff, testosterone as well as protein at the moment, and then women, men, HRT, because it's just there's not really much more they can show other than increasing protein intake helps you lose weight. Increasing protein intake helps you improve your independence. Exercise improves grip strength. Like, there's just so many benefits. So they're looking at, little geeky things, if you like what's the minimum amount of protein you could eat and get a stimulus. And they do stuff like they have 6 grams of protein and some leucine, which is one of the amino acids found in like chicken, eggs. So instead of eating like a whole nother, like 20 grams of protein, can you get away with giving someone like a little bit of protein and then sprinkling some amino acids in a drink and then having that? And does that have the same effect as having like 20 grams of protein? And it shows that it's better than just 6 grams, but it's not quite as good as the amount. But they're doing little things like that. But ultimately, it's just like a full-blown win. So yeah, I hope that helps with that. Lindsay, my protein shake is my favorite meal of the day. It's like you say, you don't have to think about it. It's so easy. Yeah. And I spoke to someone the other day, and one of their things that they were doing were a Huel at lunchtime. And it's like really, really a simple one for them, whether that is a protein shake or not. Like, yeah, just such a key one to do. So I hope that helps in there. And this brings me on to the last question, actually. So Brady asked, I always eat full-fat Greek yogurt as it's so satiating. Yeah, it absolutely is. Should I switch to 0% if I'm trying to shift some weight? So put it simply, like if you compare, let's say you have 500 grams of total Greek yogurt. Okay, so you have 500 grams of total Greek yogurt, full fat in there. So let's say you have, it's 5% in on there. You're talking per that, let me have a look. Let me just get that. So you got about 5 grams of protein per 100 grams in that. But then you've got, in terms of calories, if I get the, I'll do it for 100 grams to make it a bit more better for you. So if we look at that, so you've got about 117 calories in Greek yogurt, and then you compare that to about 54 calories. So it's like double the calories, right? So you consider for literally like potentially less protein, less calcium as well. So if you think about it from a weight loss point of view, per calorie, you're increasing your protein intake. So yeah, 100%. And I say this a lot, but one of the reasons I do prefer full fat Greek yogurt, like if I'm really doing it, but I also like cheese. So the way I see it is I could have 0% Greek yogurt, but have cheese on a salad. I could have cheese as a snack. And for me, that's a good compromise. I'm going to have to make some changes. And I like eating Greek yogurt a lot. Like, I eat a lot of it. And the result would be is that I'd probably bump up the calories quite a lot by doing that. So, this might sound odd, but sometimes I've had and don't compare portions to me, but I might have like a kilo sometimes of Greek yogurt in a day. But the funny thing is the calories in that really aren't like crazy. Like, you wouldn't go like, oh my God, you've eaten so many calories. So that's the interesting part of that. I might have had I might be like 600 odd calories. It's like, oh, that's just like a meal. Yeah, I am absolutely stuffed. But if that's all I had, and I ended up having a really long day during the day, and that was my like not think about a meal, didn't have any protein shakes with me, but I had a load of cute yogurt just in the fridge at the studio, and that was like, oh, I'm gonna have that. I'm just giving you a wild example. It's like, yeah, that's gonna keep you full up as well. Plus you're gonna get all the benefits from the probiotics in the Greek yogurt, which this time of year, more important than ever to help your immune system as well, with the seasons change. So, do you add anything to your yogurt, honey, etc.? If I'm at home, I have fruit with it. If I don't have fruit with me though, I do happily just eat it plain, if I'm honest. But we do combinations. Frozen mango is amazing in it. Frozen blueberries, I like to stir them in. And I like frozen fruit anyway, just because I don't have to always keep replacing it at the shops, etc. That's a good one, by the way. Louise, people eating your food, get it frozen. They're probably less likely to have it, I think. Yeah, perfect. So that is a wrap. That is all the questions I've had in there. Any other questions? Like I said, I am going to put in at the top. I put protein in my yogurt. Yeah, that's a great one, Claire, as well. Really good one. Yeah, protein shake in the yogurt is good. Really quick, simple. Yeah, so sometimes I do things like cinnamon as well. I do love cinnamon though. I'm one of those, yeah, I could have cinnamon in pretty much everything. Including banana pancakes, although the other day I accidentally put cumin in it, which doesn't work as well, just to let you know. So don't do cumin and Greek yogurt if you take one thing from this. Anyway, so that's all the questions. If you do have any other questions, let me know. Have a lovely evening. If you're on replay as well, let me know. I tried that too, but made it too thick. I tried it in porridge too. Yeah, if you try it in porridge, make sure you stir it in at the end. It can make it thick. Yeah, I think you've got to remember, if you're having Greek yogurt anyway, you're having a decent amount of protein. You might not need a whole scoop in there, Lindsay. You could try a bit less and stir it in. That might be one option as well. So like half a scoop with it. So yeah, cool. Right, that is a wrap. That is all the questions. Have a lovely evening. If you watch on replay, let me know, and I will see you later. Remember, I'll put the core exercises above for you as well with all the questions. So it's bang, 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 nice and organised, and we'll go from there. Have a lovely evening, and see you soon. Take care.